New for you at 4:30, troubling new numbers about kids' mental health are a really big wake-up call for parents. Connecticut Children says nearly 1 in 5 children screened in its emergency department show some level of suicide risk, even kids as young as 7. Channel 3's Tracy McCain has more on the growing crisis and a free program helping to spot the warning signs early.
Kids are in crisis and they're really struggling. They have a lot of stress. They have a lot of connectivity.
Dr. Stephen Rogers leads emergency health services at Connecticut Children's. He cares for young people struggling with thoughts of self-harm or suicide, some as young as 7 years old.
And have screened over 100,000 kids for risk of suicide with a positive rate, meaning they have risk of suicide of about 18%, which is really high.
That means nearly 1 in 5 children coming through the emergency department is showing some level of suicide risk. Dr. Rogers says part of the challenge is today's always connected world.
They're connected to social media all the time. Okay. You know, they're walking around with cell phones.
But that 1 in 5 number pushed doctors to think bigger, not just responding to crisis, but trying to prevent it. Enter QPR, question, persuade, refer.
QPR training helps people to recognize the warning signs of suicide and then connect them to the supports that they need.
QPR classes are free for adults 18 and up in Connecticut, with younger teens able to join with a parent. The training teaches people how to spot warning signs and step in before a crisis.
It was a big shock for me.
22-year-old Stella Garson completed her training this spring after an internship at Connecticut Children's Youth Suicide Prevention Center and warns the pressure on college students is growing.
Could be just going to class and dealing with that, dealing with finals, dealing with pressure from what you're going to do after you graduate.
She says those struggles don't start in college. For many, they start much earlier.
As a kid, when you just get used to one situation and I think you have to switch into something new, it's a lot to deal with. I think it's just made me feel more confident to take action.
And that matters because for many young people, the first person they open up to isn't a parent or a doctor, it's a friend.
I think that it's important just to make yourself someone that they can talk to.
And Dr. Rogers says people want help, they just don't know how. QPR gives people language. Questions like, how long have you been feeling this way? Describe how you're feeling, or simply,
how can I help?
Dr. Rogers says early intervention is already making a difference with hundreds of reported interventions tied to the training program. In studio, Tracy McCain, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Mental illness is in, right? Everybody's talking about their mental illness, but it's the wrong discussion. The discussion is about brain health. We're the unhappiest we've been since the Great Depression. Suicide skyrocketed, depression, anxiety, drug abuse skyrocketed in children. Anti-anxiety medications like Xanax went up 20% in teenagers. That is a nightmare because it's the wrong solution. And I'm not opposed to medicine. It's just never the first thing I think about. It's like, let's get your brain and your habits right, and then we'll see what you need. And more than half the people taking medicine really don't need it. Last year, 337 million prescriptions for antidepressants in the United States. That's insane.
I want to die. And I don't say that in a very oh, she's depressed way, but genuinely, I'm so exhausted that I would rather die than have to wake up and do another day again. I actually don't have the energy to do anything. I've been sitting in my car for about 10 minutes. I got home from work. I woke up late today. They were super nice about it. And I realized on my way home that I don't care. I don't care about anything anymore. I don't have goals. I don't have passion. I'm not excited to do anything. And I realized that I feel so anxious and feel like my chest is so heavy all the time. And I would rather not feel like that at all. I would rather not have to do any of this. What's the point? I work 2 jobs. I work 6 days a week. I have 1 day off a week. And I work my life away. For what? A shitty apartment and a car that costs more money than it's worth? For what? What am I living for? I'm not living for anything. And it's like watching people be like, oh, like, I grew up in a religious household, like, oh, like, you just need Jesus in your life. No, I don't, because my life wasn't better with him in it.
A hopeless 15
That's not the
to 4 lead.
solution. There is no solution. Like, I'm genuinely realizing that, like, from the time that we're little, we're lied to. You can be anybody. You can do anything you want to do. But that's not true. You can't be anybody. You can't do anything you want to do. There are rules that we have to follow. There are limits to the sky. And I realized that I hit my limit. I hit my limit and I'm done. And I don't care anymore. And I don't have energy to care. And I honestly don't have the willpower to keep this up. Like, it's physically exhausting. It's so bad that my physical body is literally breaking down. And I'm only 21, and physically I can feel my body is deteriorating and doing worse. And the more I think about why I'm alive and why I keep working so hard for goals I'll never achieve, the more I realize literally my life is meaningless. It's pointless. And there is no point to it. And everything I've done has been for nothing. And that's what it is. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people won't say it, but what's the point of what we're doing? The world is so evil. There's so many evil people out there that I just can't even. You literally turn on the news and I'm disgusted and I'm horrified every single day. And I'm exhausted every single day. And we're all being gaslit. I'm like, oh, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. It's that bad. It is that bad. And yeah, that's all I have to say is it's that bad. It's to the point where I don't even want to do anything. I don't even care anymore.
Y'all, it's happening again.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahaha Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, pushing this doctrine of truth to the elect of the nation of Israel, who were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, pursuant to the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. All right, I wanted to do a quick lesson on this video I came across from a brother who put out these informative shorts, videos and such, the Hopeful Elect 3. Subscribe to his channel and stay informed and edified on a lot of his videos that he puts out. Okay, he puts out these lessons. Brothers can take advantage of it and do edifying videos or lessons on. Okay, at any rate, I wanted to address this mental health crisis because I knew the problem was bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. All right. And this can be tied directly to ESAU-EDOM because he is the ruler of this wicked kingdom. All right. And this is why people are depressed. They are hopeless. All right. They're losing hope. All right. Their economic job prospects are bleak. Why? Because this system, this beast system that was created is inherently oppressive. Okay? For a season, it was designed to allow people to flourish, build wealth, okay, even pass some down to the children, pass pass an inheritance down to the children, next generation. All right? But we've reached the pinnacle of this wicked system to the point that now it's collapsing on itself. Okay? The dollar is intentionally being devalued. Okay? The job market is drying up because they are pushing AI, or artificial intelligence, to take over jobs. Okay? To displace human workers. Okay? Because the goal ultimately is to gain greater control over the citizens of Babylon the Great, primarily the world, okay? But I want to focus on Babylon the Great here, okay? Because this nation is known as the Great Whore. It's a harlot, okay? And it is, it's run by the nation of people who are considered the border of wickedness, ESAU-EDOM, all right? Every aspect of society is run by these Edomites, and it's problematic, from the food supply to the water supply to the air supply, all right, to health insurance, to pharmaceuticals, medication, all right, with their ridiculous, outrageous prices. All right, and this is all to line the pockets of these pharmaceutical companies, and then the health insurance companies. Now, insurance premiums have gotten so high that now these damn insurance companies are denying services to people who've been paying in their hard-earned money into their insurance, just to find out that when they get a cancer diagnosis or a serious illness that requires treatment, they're denied. Okay? I mean, which is just wicked. It's beyond wicked. All right? It's beyond wicked. Here it is. You got people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars every year into something that's designed to help protect them. Okay? In the event they come down with a chronic illness or a disease, all right, that requires treatment, but yet they can't take advantage of it because ESAU-EDOM, okay, he's full of snares and lies and deception. These people can't take advantage of it because the devil, ESAU-EDOM, just took their money and ran, basically. Because that's exactly what these insurance companies are doing. They're taking the money and run. Okay? They'll get your money. Yeah, we got you. We got you covered. You got insurance. All right? It covers this, and this. All right? And the fine print, or even invisible print, and I'm being sarcastic here. All right? It says, well, we're not going to cover this if you get cancer, or you get this or that. Right? I mean, it's the most wicked, the most vile system on this earth. Okay? And then yet you got people that are still endorsing number 47, all right, and his political party, all right, and the Democrats are no better, all right. In fact, they're just as wicked, okay. So if Kamala Harris would have gotten the nod, she'd be running the country into the ground too, because this is all happening by design. But as a result, look at the people. All right, look at the people. Let's read this again. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So there's no rejoicing going on because Yahushua hasn't returned yet, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He hasn't returned to establish the kingdom of heaven. Right? So who do we have running this wicked world? But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. You see the correlation? If you got wickedness, right, that's being pushed and promoted in a kingdom, the people are going to be depressed. They're going to mourn. They're going to be sad. They're going to languish. Okay? It's absurd to hear that you got kids as young as 7 years old who are thinking about offing themselves. 7 years old. Okay? It's absurd to think that there's 370 or 37 million prescriptions written, and I want to say that was for children, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, or maybe that's Salakia, that's everybody. Okay, but children are included in that number. All right, but that's unheard of. That's unprecedented. Because 50 years ago, when I was a kid, I didn't know what the hell suicide was. I didn't know what the hell depression was. Now, I had my moments where, I get sad like anybody else. Okay, and it's okay to experience that. But you got kids that literally want to end their life, that don't want to be on this earth anymore. What the hell? How is that possible? You got to ask yourself, who is responsible? It's ESAU-EDOM, the wicked. Okay? Let's get the book of Job, chapter 9. Because we know who's running the world. And are they running the world through righteousness, through the wisdom of the scriptures? Hell no. Right? In fact, they do the exact opposite because they're adverse to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. They hate the Lord. They hate His laws, statutes, and commandments. They hate His righteous order. All right? Everything that they can do to undermine the Heavenly Father, this is what these devils do. This is Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Well, we know it was ESAU-EDOM that covered the faces of the judges. All right, and this isn't a literal covering. This is talking about he concealed the true identity of the judges of the earth and of the heavens, of course, starting with the Heavenly Father and the only begotten Son. Okay? Well, now when you see a picture or portrayal of the Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, or even the angels in heaven and the Israelites, they all look like Edomites. Right? They all look like Edomites. That's done by design. All right? Well, let's identify who this wicked nation is. Because it's important to understand, okay, what's going on, what's taking place, why people are so damn depressed and at the brink of wanting to take themselves out. Okay, kids included. I mean, that's sickening. It's sickening, and it all has to do with the way or who's in charge and who's ruling the world. Okay, and these Edomites are always bragging about how bad and dominant they are. Okay, and how intelligent they are. But yet, half the damn population is on antidepressants. Okay? They're depressed. They're at the brink of taking themselves out. Okay? And the 21-year-old, she looked like a Judite woman. That woman is beyond depressed. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to hear that she took herself out. Okay? And it's sad. It's sad. She's at the young and tender age of 21. She's got a whole life ahead of her, but she sees no hope. She's lost the hope. All right? ESAU-EDOM has done everything in his power to destroy this society. Okay? To make it that much harder for you to survive. You got people living in, she described her apartment as a shitty apartment. She's working 2 jobs. I want to say she said she's working over 60 hours a week, if I'm not mistaken. All right? 1 day off a week. That's no quality of life. Right? I mean, how in the hell is anybody supposed to be happy? How can you not be depressed? Now, those of us of the hopeful elect, we deal with this. This is a part of our walk. Okay? The suffering that goes along with this is a part of the walk. Okay, being afflicted. Okay, but everybody else out there, they lost hope. There's no hope. At any rate, Salakia for going on a tangent. This is Malachi, verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. We're going to identify who the wicked is. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau. The Lord hates Esau and the Edomites, contrary to the popular belief of the Christians and the Yah Israelites. The Lord hates these people, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them, this is the point, the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. This is a righteous hatred that the Lord has for the Edomites. He created them, but he created them to be wicked. Okay? And he hates them. And that's his prerogative. Okay? He can do whatever the hell he wants. All right? It's funny how the Christians try to change the narrative of the Holy Scriptures, and they establish their idea of what righteousness should be. Okay? And in their minds, the Lord is not allowed to hate anybody. Okay? Now, Esau is allowed to hate any and everybody. No one says anything about that. But the Lord himself, no, he's not allowed to. Go figure. Go figure. Anyway, let's go to the book of Sirach. Chapter 10. What does it say? A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. Okay, is the government well ordered here in Babylon the Great? Hell no. Okay, they're all about doing wickedness. All right, they're all about stealing. Okay, taxing you to death. Right, taking everything that doesn't belong to them. Right, claiming your money. Right? Claiming land that doesn't belong to them. Right? They're not ethical. They're not moral. They're not upstanding. They're not upright. Okay? They're wicked. Let's read that again. A wise judge will instruct his people. Okay? You instruct them using wisdom. Using the wisdom of the scriptures. Okay? But ESAU-EDOM doesn't do that. Right? When he picks up the Bible, it's to... he does it to manipulate and deceive. Okay? Tries to convince you that, him taking slaves of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans was okay. All right? There was nothing wrong with that. But when you tell them, hey, you guys got next. Okay? The Lord's coming back, and he's going to put you in slavery. All right, they're up in arms about it. They call us hateful and evil and wicked, right? But yet they boast and brag about what they did to our people during the times of slavery. It's okay, okay? Keep laughing, keep talking your shit, because every day that goes by is a day closer to us being delivered and you being judged, okay? As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. Okay, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Okay, and this is what you're witnessing here in Babylon the Great, an unwise king destroying the minds, the will, the spirit of the people here in Babylon the Great. All right, people are beside themselves with anxiety, depression. Okay, you got gas prices, okay, that are going through the roof. All right, the price of groceries is just absolutely insane. I mean, I went to the grocery store today and I got a few items and it was $70. Got a couple items a few days ago. All right, I think it was a Wednesday, and I walked out of there paying $130 something for a few items. Okay, some food, necessities and such. But it's only going to get worse. Okay, and you got people, all right, who are working their asses off, but they're not getting raises. They're certainly not getting overtime. Okay, what the hell are they supposed to do? Okay, your rent is increasing every month or every year, right? The cost of groceries, the cost of gasoline, okay, everything costs. All kinds of services, you name it. And people are really feeling this pinch, man. They're really feeling it. And a lot of people are getting bugged out because of it. All right? Because people just want to survive, and they can't do that. They can't do it. They certainly can't do it with one job for the most part. It requires 2 incomes. Okay? I saw something on YouTube today regarding a woman was saying that she needed 2 incomes in order to survive because she just can't make it on one income alone. All right, this is absurd. But again, this is 100% on the Edomites. They're responsible for this. Okay, the most wicked, the most vile rulership that the world has ever seen. Yeah, you've done some good things for mankind, but you've done a lot more wicked things, evil things. You disenfranchised. All right, you shed the blood of the innocent. Okay, you raped, robbed, pillaged. Okay, you created obstacles to place before the children of Israel here in Babylon the Great, all right, to prevent them from thriving, prevent them from flourishing. Okay? Yeah, we know what your playbook entails. All right, but now you've been found out. Now the men of the Lord are exposing you devils. Okay? But, things are going to get worse. They're going to get a lot worse. You ain't seeing nothing yet. All right? I mean, it's prophecy. Let's get the book of 2nd Esdras, since it's already up on the screen, chapter 8, verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So this is judgment. This is judgment from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Because you got a lot of women out there, who are depressed, anxious, suffering from mental illness issues. All right, they've been destroyed by feminism, and they can't figure it out. They can't put their finger on it. They've been brainwashed to compete against men. They've been brainwashed to look at their femininity as a weakness, as something to hold with disdain, or view with disdain. You notice how women are talking like men. They got foul mouths. They're dropping F-bombs every other word and every video, it just seems like. Right? They don't wear dresses. There's nothing feminine about these demons these days. All right? And it's the ideology and the philosophy of feminism that was created, that was promoted here in Babylon the Great, starting in the 60s. Okay? Women of all nationalities have espoused feminism here in Babylon the Great, for the most part. Okay? And this is why there's so many unhappy women. There's so many out of order women. And they can't figure it out. They don't understand. They know something is amiss, but at the same time, they can't quite put their finger on it. When you bring it to their attention, they're so oblivious and so far gone. They still defend their oppression. How about that? They're being oppressed, right? And it's the source of their misery, all right? Because they're out of order, right? They're out of order. They're not walking in the path of a woman, or the path that a woman should, okay, when she reaches early adulthood. She should be finding a husband to have children with. Okay? Not going to a university for 4 years and being a hoe all 4 years and get out and be a hoe for another 4 years, 10 years. Next thing you know, you're in your mid-30s and you're wondering, where in the hell has all this time gone? And why don't I have any children? Why don't I have a husband? And it's really hitting a lot of these women very, very, very hard. They're coming to the realization that they've been played by this system. They've been played by feminism. And it's destroyed them. It's destroyed their minds. And this is why a lot of these women, when they reach their 40s, they are severely depressed. Okay? They're abusing wine, abusing drugs, because they know that they drank the wine of the serpent. Let's say that. Okay? They drank the wine of the serpent, who was ESAU-EDOM, because he's running the world. And he pushed this feminism ideology on the world. Okay? That alphabet lifestyle. Pushing that on the children. That's another reason they're depressed. Okay? I mean, you can point the finger at ESAU-EDOM for the state of this world. The current misery in it. Because it's getting worse. Alright? I mean, it's bad now, but it's going to get far worse. By the end of the year, people are really going to be bugged out. Okay? But this is prophecy, and this is the way it's supposed to unfold. Anyway, Lord's will, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Shalom.